Number one, are you ready? Are you ready? We will build a great wall along the southern border.
Build a wall, 100%.
I would build a great wall. I will build a great wall.
Mr. Trump, it has not escaped anybody's notice that you say that the Mexican government is sending criminals, rapists, drug dealers across the border. Governor Bush has called those remarks, quote, extraordinarily ugly. I'd like you're right next to him, talk to him directly and say how you respond to that. And you have repeatedly said that you have evidence that the Mexican government is doing this, but that you have evidence you have refused or declined to share. Why not use this first Republican presidential debate to share your proof with the American people?
So, if it weren't for me, you wouldn't even be talking about illegal immigration, Chris. You wouldn't even be talking about it. This was not a subject that was on anybody's mind until I brought it up at my announcement, and I said, Mexico is sending. Except the reporters, because they're a very dishonest lot, generally speaking, in the world of politics, they didn't cover my statement the way I said it. The fact is, since then, many killings, murders, crime, drugs pouring across the border, our money going out and the drugs coming in. And I said, we need to build a wall, and it has to be built quickly. And I don't mind having a big, beautiful door in that wall so that people can come into this country legally. But we need, Jeb, to build a wall. We need to keep illegals out.
Who's going to pay for the wall? Who? 100%.
Yes, it will. One way or the other, Mexico is going to pay for the wall. That's right. It may be through reimbursement, but one way or the other, Mexico will pay for the wall. We're right now.
One of the most divisive issues when it comes to immigration is the idea of building a wall along our entire border with Mexico. Hundreds of miles of fence have already been built with a price tag at some $7 billion. But as the race for 2016 heats up, we're hearing more and more voices suggesting that if they find themselves in the Oval Office, the bigger wall is going to be exactly what voters get.
We know how to do that, and we've done it in some parts of the border and not enough parts of the border because people are still coming in. It requires more fencing and more building a wall.
Yes, we need to build a wall, and yes, we need more boots on the ground, and yes, you need technology and sensors, and yes, you need heat flare technology in the helicopters.
Earlier in the year, I was on Fox News Sunday and laid out what I thought we should do, which is secure the border, which means build the wall, have the technology, have the personnel to make sure it's safe and secure.
First of all, we ought to finish the fence. And even if special interests don't want it done, we should get it done.
Well, no, I mean, we build the fence where it needs to be built.
They climb it with screwdrivers like a pegboard. They tie barbed wire in between the mesh and make stirrups out of it. They stand on the roof of a truck and jump over. They got ladders. This is a joke. This is absolutely a joke.
Many things cross the border, from monarch butterflies to heroin, to people looking for a better life. 93% of the cocaine consumed in the U.S. comes in through this border, having made its way from South America. That, along with marijuana and methamphetamines, are smuggled through tunnels, on lightweight planes, in car tires, even shot over the border in t-shirt cannons. When the U.S. is the largest market in the world for illegal drugs, there's always a way in. Then there are guns, which flow the other way. Every year, an average of 253,000 firearms bought in the U.S. cross into Mexico. And the insane amount of gun dealers on the U.S. side make that really easy. There's 3 per mile. But is it actually keeping America safer? Despite Trump and other politicians' claims, ISIS isn't coming across the southern border. There has yet to be a single apprehension of someone with links to the Islamic State. The current wall covers just 653 miles of the border and has already cost the U.S. $7 billion, $5 million per mile in some areas. Experts estimate that to cover the entire border with a wall would cost $25 billion, and that's not even including labor. There are logistical hurdles too. Because of treaties the U.S. has signed with Mexico, it can't build on the Rio Grande floodplains. And much of the border in Texas is privately owned, and not everyone wants a giant wall in their backyard. So, even with all the money in the world and our very own Great Wall of America, can we ever stop movement across the border by force? And will it make us safer?
It's been an evolutionary process that this president has gone through as a campaign, and I pointed out to all of the members that were in the room that they all say things during the course of campaigns that may or may not be fully informed. But this president, if you've seen what he's done, he has changed the way he's looked at a number of things. He's adjusted the way he's looked at the South Asia strategy, Afghanistan. He's very definitely changed his attitude towards the DACA issue, and even the wall. He has evolved in the way he's looked at things. Campaign to governing are two different things, and this president is very, very, very flexible in terms of what is within the realm of the possible.
So now we're up to around $25 billion, anywhere from 2 to 6 times Trump's estimates. But wait, because we're still not done. All of that is just building the wall. The Congressional Budget Office estimated for a similar project that wall maintenance costs would exceed the initial construction costs within 7 years. So it's a big, dumb thing that only gets more expensive over time. It's like getting a pet walrus. You think it's stupid now. Wait until you learn what a bucket of sea cucumbers costs. You've not prepared for that. Texas became a real problem for constructing that fence because in Texas, unlike in other states, there is no federally owned buffer along the Mexican border, meaning the land is mostly owned by private citizens like the Loop family, who owned a ranch in Texas and discovered that 3/4 of their land would suddenly be on the other side of the fence.
When Homeland Security asked the Loops to sign away rights to their land for the fence, they said, no way.
I said, I'm not signing anything at this point, nothing. This is not possible.
So the government used the power of eminent domain and condemned their property.
Wow. And the Loops were not alone. Hundreds of property owners were sued by the federal government so the fence could be built. Perhaps the only silver lining here might be that historically in America, when the federal government takes your land and treats you terribly, you at least get an offensive football team named after you. So I guess one day we can all look forward to the Washington Loops. Hey, it's a sign of respect. They're respecting their heritage. Why can't you understand that? And the fence's damage didn't stop there because Michael Chertoff, then Secretary of Homeland Security, signed a document giving his department the authority to waive 36 laws to build the fence, including the Endangered Species Act, the Safe Drinking Water Act, and the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act. He even welded parts of the fence himself, wearing an American eagle face mask. And by waiving the protections for wildlife, the fence has posed dangers to the survival in the US of everything from jaguars to pronghorns to pygmy owls. And look how shocked they look by that fact. Although I will admit they do permanently look like you've just murdered their entire family. But let's face it, for many people, efficacy is beside the point. This wall is about making us feel safer. And here is where the racism and xenophobia that we put aside at the top of this piece really needs to be brought back. Because while other politicians have supported barriers at the border, Donald Trump has been uncommonly clear about who we need to be protected from.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Trump sounds like an angry villager running through the town square yelling, "Werewolves, run for your lives!" Though some, I assume, are good werewolves, but they're here to kill you, with maybe a few exceptions, but mostly werewolves. Run! Run from the werewolves love me, and I love werewolves, but they're here to kill all of us.
Lamento y repruebo la decisión de Estados Unidos de continuar la construcción de un muro que desde hace años, lejos de unirnos, nos divide. México no cree en los muros. Lo he dicho una y otra vez. México no pagará ningún muro.
But is Mexico going to pay for the wall? Because the current Mexican Treasury Secretary has said Mexico, under no circumstance, is going to pay for the wall that Mr. Trump is proposing. And two former Mexican presidents were even clearer.
Mexican people, we are not going to pay any single cent for such a stupid wall.
I declare, I'm not going to pay for that wall. He should pay for it.